Hi guys, if you have not noticed, I am not in my studio today. This is actually my car, my lovely vehicle here. I am in my car today because it is 8,500,000 degrees outside in Oklahoma because it's the middle of summer, and I don't feel like melting into a little puddle on the concrete. So I am going to paint in my air-conditioned car here, and we're going to test out a new travel set that I've put together. And this travel set actually uses Viviva Colorsheets as its paint. That is basically ink that's been pressed onto cardboard sheets. I'll show you how to use them. You just add water and it works kind of like watercolor. I've not had very much experience with them. I've only painted with them a couple times, so it should be kind of interesting trying to watch me figure out how to work them right, but it should be fun. So let's do this. Okay, so here is the scene that we're gonna paint. I thought I would give you a little shot of that up front. I'm not super great with architecture, so we'll see how this goes, but there we go. Okay, so I thought I would show you my setup real quick. What I have in this little very portable set. It's in this Star Wars droids thing here that I got from Etsy. Owl Croft Designs. I'll put a link to that in the description if you're interested. But how cute is this? Check this out. It's got R2-D2 as the zipper pull. So anyways, we open this up and we bring it out. We've got Paul Rubens sketchbook here. I've only used it a couple times. I don't love the paper, but for something this small, it's totally fine. I have a couple mixing palettes here to keep the colors separate. Just gonna keep that right there. And then inside here, you just have your typical stuff like, you know, pencil, eraser, fine liner, a Posca pen for white, and a clip, and a water brush. That's going to be essential here for this setup. And the pencil sharpener, of course. And then shop towels. And then these are the color sheets that I was talking about. You can see that it's just cardboard, and you open it up and you've got little swatches, and the swatches do not actually match a lot of times what the actual color looks like, so I have these swatched out right here. There's a sheet in between because, you know, you've got 4 swatches that kind of face each other, so you've got a sheet in between to keep them from mixing. And you can see that even when you look at the blue, this is a blue, peacock blue, but it actually looks purple. That's why you have the swatches there. It's a really good idea to do that. It does have a little mixing palette thing in the back that you can, you know, clean off each time if you want to use that. But I'm just using this little guy down here. For me, it's easier to do that way. So that's what I've got in my little set. Let's get to paint. I did forget to say that the entire point of this little set is something that I can leave in my car at all times if I need it without it getting too hot. That's the whole point. Okay, so I've actually already drawn this out just to spare you because I'm going to ink it as well. I like to do that a lot of times when I'm out and about because it provides an extra bit of definition, because it's really hard to get definition as quickly as you need to sometimes for painting outdoors. So I'm sparing you from watching me draw it twice. So so I'm just gonna go ahead and ink this little guy. And I'll probably even speed that up for you. I'm going to add some definition by coloring in these guys right up front too, just kind of a cross-hatching type thing, or scribbling really. I'm not quite cross-hatching. I'm just going to scribble in some shadows as I go. Just makes it easier. Okay. Alright, so actually I am going to protect my jeans real quick because I did this the other day and realized that I was wearing really light jeans and I don't want to stain them. Personally, that may not look as great for filming purposes, but there you go. Alright, so I'm gonna grab a little bit of this blue here and we're gonna make it pretty watery because we don't want it to be that dark for our sky. So we'll just go ahead and paint this in there. Okay. Now, I may jack up my air conditioning volume here and put it in front of it so it'll dry out quicker. I don't want to sit here and like wait for that to dry. Okay. Now let's start working on some greens. So we've got this light green color here. We're going to mix it pretty thick, so I'm not going to use a ton of water. And then wash out your brush pretty quick because this stuff really likes to suck up into the water brush and turn your water different colors. I'm not really exactly sure why it does that, but it does very quickly. So put a little bit of crimson into that to tone down the green because it's really, really, really bright if you don't. And I'm just gonna go down here while the sky is drying. And then come back to the green and grab some of this sap green here. Light green is the one that I used earlier. The sap green has a lot more kind of brown in it. That was a little much of it. It is also very saturated, so you want to kind of be careful. See? You add that in there and it's like, whoa, green, but I just added a tiny little bit of it in there. See? You just want to be kind of careful. Oh shoot, I've gotten that on my wall. Don't know that that's gonna lift. Whoop! Now I've done it. Oh, it did lift a little bit. I just don't want a green wall, you know? Okay. We need to make some of this green very, very dark. So I'm gonna add a little bit of this Slate Black that's kind of, it's got a lot of blue in it, so it reminds me of a Payne's Gray. So I'm gonna put a lot of that in it to get a nice dark color. Okay. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of burnt umber into it to tone it back a little bit. Okay. The only thing I don't love about these is having to flip back and forth between all of your colors. It's pretty annoying. I'm not gonna lie about that. It really is annoying. So, okay, I'm gonna put some of this back here, back behind, for all of this greenery that's behind. to, if you want a really nice dark color, you can't put much water in it at all, because the water's gonna like water it down to the point where it's just too light. Okay, there we go. Now we got some nice and dark. Let's work on this really dark tree up here. I'm going to leave some of that blue showing through because it is showing through, in fact. Okay, and I'm going to grab some of this for some differentiation in color. Some of this Sap Green by itself and use that for over here. This tree right here needs some yellow, and I don't have a true yellow. We just have this chrome yellow that looks awfully orange, but it does go fairly yellow when you put a lot of water in it. So I'm gonna go up here with that, because that's got a lot of really nice bright yellow in it. Trying not to go crazy with this stuff because I don't want it to all bleed together. I'm going to wait a second before I put more shadow in that. Alright, now I'm going to turn up my air conditioner and dry it again for real quick. Alright, so I'm going to take a little bit of burnt umber. Try not to put a ton of water in there just yet. And then I need some of this Slate Black. I'm trying to mix the color for the building now. Probably good. And I'm going to, actually we're going to use this for trunks first because this building might not be quite dry yet. That long. Okay. Oh, no, it is dry. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the building. We need to do it very light to start out with. Slate Black for this pyramid type structure, open pyramid. There we go. Some of the darker stuff. I feel like I want some more darks back behind this as well. Okay, now we're going to put in some shadows on the building here. So we need to do it all on one side and preserve the light parts. That may be just about it, folks. Except for I'm going to put in some shadow here. Well, folks, I think I'm going to call that a day, and then I will show you what it looks like after it's dried. But yeah, for a tiny little sketch, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, I'm back home, and this is what it looks like now that it's dry. I'm just gonna add a little bit of detail in here to separate this out, just because I can, just because I'm at my studio. So I'm just gonna, you take this little white Posca pen, and I'm gonna add a little bit of emphasis on the sunlight side of the architecture. That's the final product of this. As far as what I think about the Viviva Colorsheets, I do think that they definitely take some getting used to. You definitely, if you're using a water brush, you have to make sure you're not squeezing too much, because it will wash out your color very quickly and you won't get any definition or any darkness. Like this, for instance, was hardly any water. It was just enough to activate it and move it into my little mixing palette. So you kind of have to be careful there. And like I said before, if I remembered to say it, sometimes the color itself will suck itself up into your water brush and it'll turn your water green. So you kind of have to, or whatever color you're using, and you kind of have to watch that. But otherwise, they're kind of good fun. I do think it takes a lot of work to get them kind of desaturated because they're such bright, vivid colors. So you do have to work in the complementary color a lot, like I was doing the whole time, in order to desaturate that color to get it kind of usable for anything natural. I do think that it would probably be really nice for anything abstract or anything kind of pop art-ish, or maybe floral, you know, decorative floral. It'd be great for that, but it is kind of a lot of fun to try to, like, you know, use a different medium from what you're used to. So, I mean, if you feel like experimenting, I think they're good for that. And there you have it, a nice little plein air adventure, or plein car, if you will, since I wasn't exactly in the open air, but I was at least painting from my own observation rather than a photo. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that fun stuff, because that's how this channel gets to grow. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in 2 weeks.